When I was in high school and college, I worked part-time at Brown Jordan during the summers. Ken was working there. And then when I came out of the service, Bob Brown asked me to go to work there full-time. Ken was sales manager and I was vice president and treasurer. So we worked together since 1965.
Being at Brown Jordan was not like being at a job site. It was a family. And both Mr. Jordan and Mr. Brown were like fathers to me. My father and mother divorced early in life, so I really needed a father image, and Mr. Jordan was he. The best times was all my travels. When I was at Brown Jordan, I was sent out I went to Hawaii a couple times a year, and like going to Chicago was the furthest from my mind until one day Mr. Brown and Mr. Jordan said, "We want you to go because we are going to now make you the sales manager," which I reared back. I said, "Me?" I was only like 23, 24 years old. I had people come up to me, our reps who were old enough to be my grandfather really at that time, who put their arms around me and said, "Ken, we've heard a lot about you and we're here to support you. Don't worry about a thing. We'll go to work for you right away."
We decided to go in together. We had purchased Terra and stayed at Brown Jordan for about 9 months and decided we just had to leave. So we went into the president of the time and sat down, and I told him that I was going to be leaving, and he turned to Ken and said, "Well, Ken, it was really nice of you to come in and support Gary," while he told me this. And Ken said, "I didn't come in to support you. I came in to tell you I'm leaving too."
I first became associated with the Tournament of Roses because I used to get my Rose Bowl football tickets from a gentleman who was a retailer in Pasadena, where I was born.
Ken was actually one of our 935 active volunteers who just took on more and more responsibility as a volunteer and eventually climbed through membership in the tournament into being a chair of a committee and then being elected onto our executive committee and then served as president of the Tournament of Roses for the millennium year of 2000.
The thing I enjoyed the most about the Tournament of Roses was all the travel that goes along with various jobs that you have. And my year leading up to being president, which was 1999, was my traveling year. My wife and I traveled 110,000 miles just that year alone.
When Ken joined the Tournament of Roses, at first it didn't impact too much, but then when he was appointed to the executive committee, then he got very involved, and there was a lot of meetings and a lot of time off. And then in his year before he was the president, or the year he was president, he was off probably almost every week sometime. And I kept reminding him when he left here that he still owed me 83 days of vacation. And I'd like him to know that he still owes me that.
But one of the things that people may remember about the millennium was the frightened folks that would be about computers and what would happen with dates, and would everything be affected, and would the electrical grids in the country go down as a result of the computer clocks not being able to register a new century with a 2 in front instead of a 1.
Getting a Grand Marshal was my largest challenge that year, because anybody that I talked to, they wanted to be somewhere else, not in Pasadena, for the millennium. And interestingly enough, a lot of people wanted to be right where the date changes, way out in the middle of nowhere, in the ocean where the date changes first.
Well, we all sort of waited with bated breath. We thought we had everything all fixed, but I must admit to you that we did sit all together in a command center when midnight hit New York to see what would happen in the east coast of the United States as to whether 3 hours later we might have a problem. There were no problems whatsoever. Everything worked perfectly well. And so many of the worries that not only we had, but people across the country about computers proved to not be a problem.
After I semi-retired, I decided that I really needed to go back to work. Sitting at home or traveling is not the only thing left in life. David Lang and his father called me one day and said, "We'd like to talk to you. We've heard something about you," and through a Terry Lee, and we'd like to talk to you about what we have in mind.
My dad and I were pretty astonished on the career that he has built, and kind of left there, and our whole attitude was, we need to hire this guy.
They said, well, let us think about it and let you think about it, and give us a call back. So I went home and I walked in the house and I said, what's there to think about? I'm in my 70s, for crying out loud. Where am I going to find a job, let alone be offered one? For all the things I've done to be successful, if I'm successful, it's hard work, but enjoyable at the same time. Because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then my question is always, then why are you doing it?
I admire the most about Ken Burrows is his integrity and his loyalty to not only in the workplace but to his family. Every day is different at the store, and Ken keeps you extremely focused on what you're doing. Once he gets a hold of a project, he has an extreme follow-through. He's dedicated, and he makes sure that the day is not done until that project or a delivery or a customer issue is handled and hopefully completed. When I heard Ken won this award, I thought, it's about time. That is absolutely fantastic.
There's nobody more well respected than Ken. I mean, he's been in the industry for 60+ years, and he knows more about this than anybody I've ever met.
He is gracious. He is generous with his time, and he's also a person that helps build team.
Well, I know most of these people who voted for me to begin with, so that was very humbling, to say the least. And I got lots of phone calls, and even some people came in person, but it's I'm just not quite sure I really and truly deserve this, but I've accepted, and I'm very proud and humble at the same time.